Hello and welcome to today's Park Life Sport podcast. I'm Joe Davies, I'm your host for the day. Today we'll be looking at the big game in the Premier League tomorrow at Old Trafford. Manchester United take on Liverpool. I'm joined in the studio today by Manchester United fan Luke. Hi Luke.
Hiya.
And I'm also with two Liverpool fans. I've got Marchello Cossalli-Francis.
Hi,
Hello
Joe.
Mark. And Elliot Lee.
Hiya, you're right.
So to kick things off, I'm going to come to Luke first. To talk about Man United. United obviously looking for their third league victory in a row after coming from behind in the last two games against Chelsea and Palace. How vital was the comeback against Palace in particular for you, Luke?
Extremely vital. The result against Chelsea was very good a couple of weeks ago, but I don't believe you can back big results up without beating the teams that you should beat. And we found ourselves in a position where we were 2-0 down against Palace. Mourinho made some very good substitutions, brought on Luke Shaw and Juan Mata, took off the fullbacks, and without playing very well, we won the game. So, yeah, very happy with that.
Yeah, it's a big game tomorrow, obviously, but you've also got a big game on Tuesday night against Sevilla in the Champions League. Do you think Mourinho will have one eye on that tie?
Managers will publicly say no, but they always do. But Sevilla aren't a very good side. I think Mourinho's tactics in Spain should have been more attacking. We could have had the job done by now, but we've got the strength in depth to deal with two games in a matter of days, and I think you'll see his strongest side tomorrow.
Fantastic. So, Elliot, I'm going to come to you about Liverpool.
Yeah.
Obviously unbeaten in the last 7 games in all competitions. How will this form help you out tomorrow?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, if you look at the forms over the past 5 games in the Premier League, Liverpool have got 13 out of 15, which is good. And you said unbeaten in 7, yeah. There's 5 clean sheets in that as well. With Loris Karius, he's coming into his element now. And if you look at the Premier League in general, I think if Karius played the same amount of games as De Gea, he'd have 1 more clean sheet. I think we're performing well defensively and obviously offensively. Mo Salah's just 1 player of the month, so we've got a good future ahead of us.
And last time the teams played back in October, Liverpool's stats were as follows. They had 19 shots, 5 of them were on target, and they had 63% possession. Do you think this was a missed opportunity for Klopp's team? And will this result be in the back of their minds tomorrow?
I do think so. I think we should have really won that game. And it was the same for the season before. We should have won both games. However, ultimately didn't, so I don't believe we can focus too much on them. But if you look back, Liverpool are unbeaten against United in the last 5 games. We've drawn 4 and won the other 1. I believe we've drawn the last 4 in a row. So that's what I'm mainly focusing on, is the unbeaten factor rather than the not getting the win.
Yeah, and Liverpool have obviously advanced through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League now. Do you feel like the focus is solely on the Champions League after it looks like Liverpool have secured top 4 for me? Do you think the focus is mainly on the Champions League now?
It looks like we're focusing on the Champions League, but it looks like we're in the top 4. Sorry, best of the rest as it is now referred to. But you'd be silly to disregard the league, because although we are in the Champions League, for me as a Liverpool fan, it's seems more of a relief that we're doing so well in the Champions League, because we've not done so well in it for so long. We've been in it for so long. So to do it now is more of a relief rather than an expectation, and the expectation at the moment is to get top 4. So I think that is what we will focus on going forward.
Yeah. So March, a win tomorrow will take Liverpool back into 2nd place in the league. Would you class this season as a success if Liverpool were to finish 2nd but got knocked out of the Champions League in the next
Yeah,
round?
I think it's already been a success, actually. I know a lot of fans would have enjoyed a trophy, and we would have enjoyed a trophy. I'd have quite liked to have seen us go a bit further in the FA Cup. Disappointing to be knocked out the way we were knocked out. But if you'd have said at the start of the season you'll finish in the top 4 again and you'll get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, of course we couldn't compare that at all. And I think it's a massive step up from where we were 4 or 5 years ago to where we are now. Huge setup, and yeah, that would be a massive success.
Yep, so back to the game tomorrow. This is a question to both of you Liverpool fans, really. Who do you think Liverpool will look to exploit in the Man United team at Old Trafford? If anybody.
I don't think there are many weak links in that United squad. Watching them against Palace, Lindelof looked very shaky, and so did Smalling as well. I think those two are probably the weakest in that team, and even then, they're not. Chris Smalling is still a good centre back, but if we're trying to pick out somewhere, it would be those two. But I think even good defenders are going to struggle against our attack. I don't think we need a defence to be poor for our attack to do well. We've done well against every single defence in the league, so I don't think we need to worry about trying to find somewhere to beat them. I think our attack are good enough for anybody. So,
yeah, I kind of echo those because I feel that United, they work well as a team very effectively, and Mourinho has built them very well as a team. They haven't got a certain weak link. The only way Liverpool can beat them is through their attack working as a team as well.
Yeah. No new injury concerns for Liverpool tomorrow, apparently. Would you expect to see any changes from the team that beat Newcastle?
I think every week when it comes to selecting that Liverpool starting 11, you're looking at, is it Matip or Lovren alongside Van Dijk? Is it Gomez or Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back? I think Robertson's going to be, I think he was struggling with a little injury, but I think he's going to be all right to play. Again, left back. And then maybe there's always potentially you could bring in you've got Henderson, Wijnaldum, Chan and Oxlade-Chamberlain competing for 3 places, and you've also got Milner as well. So it's a question of which midfield combinations, but I think it won't be too far from that team that beat Newcastle 2-0 last time out.
Yeah, look, I'm going to ask you kind of the same question. Who do you think Man United will look to exploit in the Liverpool team, if anyone?
Personally, I'm not sure Mourinho would take this approach, but I would have Lukaku on Lovren's shoulder all game if he is to start. Whoever Van Dijk's partner will be, I'd have Lukaku on his shoulder because I think Van Dijk is a very good defender and Lukaku might not be successful in that one-on-one battle. Elsewhere on the pitch, I would say whoever starts on the left-hand side could have a very good game. I know last year in this fixture, Trent Alexander-Arnold had a very good game marking Marchello, and they put 2 men on Marchello quite often in that game, if I can remember. He came off at half-time. But like the boys said, I think it will come down to whose individual game plan will pay off as opposed to the other team's weaknesses.
Talking of the game plan, Mourinho's come under criticism recently for being quite defensive. As we saw back in October against Liverpool, he was very defensive and arguably Liverpool should have won the game. With Liverpool's attacking force, would this be a dangerous tactic to use tomorrow?
Yes and no. I think if he was to go completely defensive and invite pressure, that's not going to work because, like March said, the front 3 is capable of beating anyone in the world. Yeah. But I think since the turn of the year, we have seen a bit more from Mourinho in the big games. We went to the Emirates and turned Arsenal over. I know Arsenal aren't very good, but we've not had a very good record at the Emirates recently. We beat Chelsea at home, beat Spurs at home, so we have seen a bit more from Mourinho. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we ended up with 30% possession tomorrow. But that's then just a case of how useful we are on the counter-attack.
And March talked about the centre-back difficulties that have been happening over the last couple of weeks. Who would you like to see in defence tomorrow?
My ideal partnership is Eric Bailly and Marcus Rojo. I'm not sure both of them will start in such a big game because neither of them have been. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bailly came in to partner Chris Smalling. Have Chris Smalling in there because he's had the run of games, and Eric Bailly because he's our best defender by a mile. Yeah.
So, Al, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah.
Well, all of you can answer this question really. What does this particular rivalry mean to you?
Well, for me, being from the northwest, there was a massive divide when I was a kid. Everyone either United or Liverpool. There were a few sporadic Everton fans, but no one really goes for that. And so it was always about school, what it meant to you, being able to take the mick out of the guys in the playground, and being for me a personal connection is watching the game with my dad. I always just love going down to the pub, watching the game with my dad. Half the pub would be Liverpool fans, half United fans, and they'd just be back and forth. And that nostalgia, that's what rings through this game for me.
I think, yeah, I've said before that I've never really had a mate who's supported United until being at uni.
You still don't see it.
So it's been quite. It's been a bit of more of an experience now. I'm at uni in terms of this fixture, but as a Liverpool fan, you're just you got to hate United, and that's just how it is. And I think mine stems from actually the games themselves. So when you had the likes of Gerrard and Rio Ferdinand, Neville's, Carragher's, those kind of players where it was huge. And those derbies, those games were the best ones because they were flying into tackles all the time. And in the last few years, it hasn't really been there.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping it goes back to that now.
I agree with March. When you're not from Manchester or Liverpool, it all comes down to the game itself, because day to day you're not, going to school with a bunch of Scousers or Manx or whatever, but coming to uni, being surrounded by Liverpool fans and being the only United fan, that's made the rivalry that bit more strong, passionate. Yeah, I like it.
I'm going to talk about some players now. I'll come to you. David De Gea has obviously been he probably is the best keeper in the world at the minute.
Yeah.
You got Mo Salah, just been voted Premier League Player of the Month, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be a key battle, surely, tomorrow.
It is, yeah. And like I said, I do believe that De Gea, for me, he is the best keeper in the world. I think Neuer's gone off a bit. Buffon's ageing. For me, it's between Buffon and Oblak. And Salah, I believe he's had one of the best seasons. He's had the best season in his career. And I believe it could be the best season of his whole career. He's just been incredible, the amount of goals he's scored. Joint top scorer, I believe, with 24 goals with Harry Kane. He's really is a great player. But as I said earlier, I believe the battle isn't on the individual quality of the players. It's on the managers, because Mourinho sets his team out very well. They play very compact defensive football, and they know how to nullify not only the team but the crowd. So I don't think it will be about individual quality, but who can work well in a team and cohesively.
I seem to remember at the start of the season, before the start of the season,
again.
that you weren't too fussed on Salah.
Yes, right.
You're going to change your point now?
Yeah, I would argue that he is arguably the best player in Liverpool's side, certainly this season. But at the start of the season, I wasn't too fond of him. I was watching a lot of his goals at Roma. They were tap-ins. He had great stats, but they were tap-ins. And then
he hasn't got a right foot, does he?
Oh no, he hasn't. I think Firmino scored more no-look goals this season than Salah scored right-footed goals, which is absolute chaos. But if he scores, he scores. I'm not gonna care.
Carnage.
Matt Letizia, obviously Sky Sports pundit, has come out this week saying that it'll be a huge test for Virgil van Dijk tomorrow, because he hasn't faced a test like Lukaku recently. What do you think about these comments?
I wouldn't be fazed by that kind of thing. I don't think Van Dijk will be fazed by it either. Luke's already said it. He's a world-class defender. He's going to thrive in games like this. He's not going to be worried about facing Lukaku. And as we've already said, Lukaku's probably got more of a chance if he sticks on Lovren or Matip, whichever one of those two plays. The fact that they're trying to avoid Van Dijk, he's a class defender, and I don't think he's going to be worried or, I don't know, Lukaku's a good player, he's very strong, very physical, but I don't think Van Dijk will be
This is what Klopp signed him for. Klopp signed him to play in these big games and improve the defence.
£75 million, that's why you pay the money.
Exactly, yeah.
So
Lukaku's a really physical, strong player who just spins and rolls off people, but Van Dijk's stronger and he's taller, so when to do that, he will have to utilise Lovren if he wants to score, which, if he does, he probably will.
Do you expect Lovren to start, or do you think Matip?
Personally, I prefer Matip to start. However, in the past 3 games that Lovren and Van Dijk have played, they've kept 2 clean sheets. So 2 out of 3 clean sheets isn't bad. So if he starts, I'm not going to be fussed.
Yeah. And Liverpool have lost 3 games all season in the league. All of them have been away games. Do you think that there's a tougher place to play than Old Trafford for Liverpool in terms of football in difficulty and atmosphere of the ground?
Atmosphere-wise, yeah, it will be great. But I just personally don't think that this Liverpool team are going to be worried about that at all. I think in past seasons when our team hasn't been as strong as United, we've had an issue in the atmosphere. You kind of get a bit overwhelmed by that kind of thing. But I personally think this Liverpool team is better than that Manchester United team, and I think they will be really relishing this challenge. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for this Liverpool side to show how good they really are at Old Trafford at the weekend.
Luke, you got anything to say about that one with the atmosphere?
Jurgen Klopp's teams are fearless, so the atmosphere isn't going to have no effect whatsoever. I think if one team's going to be scared, it'll be United. I've watched United in every big game at Old Trafford under Mourinho. They seem to be a bit scared, and I don't know what it comes down to, because there are experienced players in the squad, but we saw moments of that against Chelsea, and they showed great character to come back. So in terms of the atmosphere and whatnot, it shouldn't have much effect, but it's going to be a cracking atmosphere and a cracking game.
I think Sanchez has always been an issue for us whenever we played Arsenal. He was always a constant threat. He hasn't really sort of properly started going at United yet, but I think
he's always got time for him to do it tomorrow, wouldn't it?
He's going to start at some point, I believe. I don't think he's going to stay like this forever, But he's probably the player I'm most worried about in that United.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a few questions of all of you. Just give me honest answers, and that'll be fine. Okay, so the first one I'm going to ask is, if you could bring one retired player back for your club for this derby, who would it be and why? I'll start with Elliot. This is an obvious one.
Yeah, the obvious one is Gerrard, but I'd obviously love him back, the passion and what he did. Remember his final Manchester Liverpool derby? Didn't he get sent off in a matter of seconds?
Yeah,
legend.
Flying in.
Exactly, he was great. But to have broadened it a bit out, I'd love Carragher back. I thought Carragher was brilliant, and I always had a soft spot for John Arisa.
I only asked for one now.
I know, sorry, I'll stop, sorry.
No, that's alright. March, same answer?
Gog. No, yeah, Steven Gerrard, yeah. I think it seems to be better at the moment, but what we have struggled with is sort of that quite hardy central midfielder kind of thing. So yeah, obviously, for obvious reasons, him, Derby, he loves the big games.
Not Dirk Kuyt?
Dirk Kuyt. Yeah, I would.
Kuyt.
The hat-trick and tap-ins was a fond memory of mine. But yeah, it would be Gerrard, obviously.
Luke?
In terms of the rivalry itself and the passion involved, Roy Keane, and he would just get the best out of Paul Pogba completely. I've said that since Pogba signed. But I wouldn't mind having Ruud van Nistelrooy just to put the ball in the net, because I think we struggle both last season and this season. Our conversion rate is pretty poor. So yeah, bit of rude.
Okay, so again, this is to all of you. If you could have one player from the opposition team that is currently playing, who would that be and why? Al?
A couple shout outs go to Paul Pogba and Eric Bailly.
I hope you're listening, Paul.
I think they'd be great because of their individual quality and what they bring to the team. But what I think Liverpool truly need is a really good blanket that can cover the centre midfield, or the defence even. So I think outside shout, I'd like Nemanja Matic.
Really?
I think he can create, he can defend, he can shoot, he can do a lot of things. I think he's very underrated.
Fair play, March.
David De Gea.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that came to my mind.
The best keeper in the world. Who wouldn't want the best keeper in the world? And I know our goalkeepers seem to go through these spells of playing well.
Karius is doing all right at the minute,
but then they have an off moment. Both of them seem to have just that little lapse of concentration. So for me, David De Gea, I can't really think of someone who's ever done that. In a big game, I know when we played United, I'm not sure if it was the last game we played or the one before, where he just made so many good saves against us when we could have won the game. But it would definitely be him for me.
And on the keeper's note for Liverpool, so this is just a little add-in, I saw this week that Mignolet's got a new agent, maybe looking to get away from the club. Any thoughts on that?
Surprised me. I think we're after Alisson from Roma.
He's great.
Do you think he goes straight in at number one?
No, I think Karius is still... Well, Klopp has already said Karius is number one, but I think Klopp wants to bring in someone that he can... Even in the Champions League, if Alisson was our Champions League keeper, but he wants to have two keepers that he likes who can both play. He doesn't really like one that's better than the other. He likes to have two. He picks one, and then he knows that his backup is just as good, kind of thing. So I think would be surprised if Mignolet wanted to find someone else to go, because he's not playing at the moment, is he?
For me personally, I think Karius is the sort of... Well, we saw with De Gea when he came in.
He's so young.
That De Gea was shaky to start.
Yeah.
And Karius has been shaky to start, and I think he's growing into the Premier League. He's becoming a better player all round, really. I think he could do all right for Liverpool.
I do think Mignolet's going. he released a passive-aggressive post on Instagram.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Celebrating his birthday, but he captioned I wasn't happy with the seat or something on the bench. He means because he started. But Alisson, he's great. I was watching the Napoli-Roma 4-1. Alisson's great, and the commentator even said he's going to go into the World Cup for Brazil, being their number 1 keeper, ahead of Ederson, who's been great this season.
Yeah. Luke, same question for you.
In terms of the reasons I gave for Ruud van Nistelrooy, I picked Mo Salah, because if he has a chance inside the penalty area, he'll put it in.
Yeah.
But I love Sadio Mane, and I love how direct he is, and he can just create something out of nothing. So I'd pick Mane, yeah.
Yep. Now I'm just gonna ask about your favourite and least favourite moments in these derbies. Go for your least favourite first.
Least favourite. I'm not sure, to be honest. I always look at them with such fond memories. Obviously, I'm sure there's been a few bad moments, and when Steven Gerrard first did get sent off after 48 seconds, I think it was, I was a bit like, "Come on, mate." But,
come on.
Yeah, come on.
I was a bit more than that.
Mark's like, "Get in."
But in terms of best, I remember Crouch scoring once when it was really gloriously sunny. From going off celebrating. Count hat-trick, great. You can't really go wrong, can you?
David and Gog, last few minutes to seal the deal.
What's your favourite at Old Trafford, seeing as it's at Old Trafford tomorrow?
Not a clue. Being honest, I can't remember playing the
Andrea
background.
Desena, the 4th goal when we won 4-1 in 2009.
Was that the lob?
That was the lob, yeah. All the United fans are trickling out the stadium because they've already lost the game. And Desena, who never did anything good or positive in a Liverpool short, really, turned up and just decided to lob the keeper.
And Aurelio scored that game, didn't he?
Class free kick as well.
Brilliant
That game, all in all. But yeah.
I didn't get that game at all. We went 1-0 up.
Yeah.
1-0 up, champions, and 4-1, nice.
Bottle jobs.
Not Spurs.
Okay, so we touched on it a little bit, but favourite memories.
As I alluded to earlier.
Oh, sorry, I didn't ask Luke.
Yeah, it's alright, don't worry.
Sorry. Go on, you'll go for your least favourite.
The 4-1, because we've lost twice against Liverpool at Old Trafford since I've been watching. And the second one was under David Moyes, and that was just, I didn't really care at the time. So the 4-1 in 2009, yeah, I can only point to that one really.
Yeah. The 3-0 as well, actually, Liverpool. Because I think since we've all been alive, it's only been 2 wins at Old Trafford. But so yeah, that 3-0 as well.
That's your favourite moment?
No, that wasn't my favourite. The 4-1 will always be my favourite. Yeah. But yeah, we've only won there twice, so therefore we haven't got many to choose.
There's not much we can say, is there? And if we do say that, you're living in the past, you've only won twice in however many 20 years or something.
Actually, I've got one to add. Liverpool 3-1 this weekend. That'll be up there.
Yeah.
That's the score you
comes under predictions at the end.
I got predictions coming in the end. You just jumped the gun.
I'm just saying.
You're just really excited,
Come on.
Yeah. Liverpool United.
Just shut up.
That'll be my favourite memory come Monday morning.
Yeah, all right.
Luke, favourite memory?
Favourite memory? I've got 2. Rio Ferdinand scored a winner in the 90th minute in 2006. It wasn't his first. I think it might have been his first goal for United.
You'd had a bad season as well, no? You'd gone 3 seasons without.
Well, yeah, we were in a bit of a transition mode there because we'd got Rooney and Ronaldo, and they were 18 years old. Keane was on his way out. People were asking for Fergie to leave, retire, so that was a good one. And what was the other one? Dimitar Berbatov. He scored a hat-trick against Liverpool in 2011 and rounded it off with an overhead kick to win the game. Beautiful.
My favourite goal out of this tie, Juan Mata.
Yeah.
Benteke's was quality, but
yeah, Juan Mata's goal.
Juan Mata's goal.
It's not really a favourite memory, but I always loved just watching Manu Vidic's face as Fernando Torres just went steamrolling towards it. The look of fear in that Serbian's eyes.
Felipe Coutinho's
Europa League.
His little dink over the
It was Varela.
Varela, yeah, you tore up Varela.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Right, we're running out of time, so I'm going to ask for your predictions. Elliot, Lee.
I'm not confident, however, I'm never not going to back my team, which is a great double negative. So I'm going to say 1-1.
Fair.
Liverpool going to win this 3-1.
You're really confident, you are.
I've never been this confident.
I've never seen a smile like this on March's face.
Never been this confident go to Old Trafford against
Gee
United.
whiz.
Never, but I am this weekend.
Luke?
2-1 United.
I like that. Just short, sweet, confident.
Yep, that's me.
Good stuff. Right, well, that's all from Park Life Sports podcast today. I'd like to say thank you to my guests, so thank you, Luke.
Cheers, Joe.
Cheers, March. And Al, thank you very much.
Love you.
See you all soon.